I still got joy. Even in spite of what I've gone through, I still got my praise. And even in spite of what I've gone through, I ain't going to change my mind about God. If that's you, clap your hands and open up your mouth. A synagogue by the name of Jairus. And we understand anytime you've been around and you read biblical history, the Pharisees or the Sadducees, they were the leaders of the synagogue. So that lets us know that he was either a Pharisee or a Sadducee. He was a leader of the synagogue. But even in that, more so, we got to remember that it was the religious leaders of the synagogue that had Jesus put to death. The religious leaders of the Jewish community did not like Jesus. But the Bible said, here it is, this gentleman by the name of Jairus, although he had the title of a leader of the Jewish people in the synagogue, although he had a position, the Bible said he put all of that to the side. And he made up in his mind, my daughter is lying at the point of death, and I need a miracle. He needed a miracle, and he had heard about Jesus, and so he put all of what he thought to the side to go after Jesus. And the Bible said when he got to where Jesus was, he began to explain his dilemma to Jesus. He said, I believe if you come back home with me, that if you lay your hands on my daughter, she'll be healed. And the Bible said that Jesus agreed to go to Jairus' house. And the Bible said that while they were on their way to Jairus' house to make a miracle to heal his 12-year-old daughter, the Bible said that there was an interruption that happened along the way. That the Bible said that Jairus, he went to Jesus, and then the Bible said there was an interruption along the way by a woman who had an issue of blood 12 long years. She heard that Jesus was passing by. And I began to think about that thing one day, and I've come to the realization that Jesus' fame had went out before him. His fame had preceded him. And so by the time he got to their neck of the woods, they had heard about the miracles that Jesus had done. They had heard of Jesus' track record. The Jairus had heard of Jesus' track record. The woman with the issue of blood heard of Jesus' track record. Because if you back up to Mark chapter 1, you find where Jesus healed the mother of Simon Peter, who was sick, who had fever, who was lying there at the point of death. But Jesus healed her. And when he healed her, his fame went out again, and all the people in the town came, and he healed everybody that he came in contact with. Somebody shout, Jesus had a track record. He had a track record of getting results. When you go to Mark chapter 2, the Bible talks about a man that was paralyzed on one side, and he couldn't move, but he had 4 friends that loved him enough to take him to where Jesus was. And when they got to the house where Jesus was, it was so crowded they had to climb up on the roof. And then they climbed up on the roof and tore the roof off and lowered him down where Jesus was, and Jesus healed him. I told you Jesus had a track record. When you get to Mark chapter 3, there was a man that had a withered hand. The Bible said Jesus simply told him, stretch out your hand, and he stretched out his hand and he was healed. Jesus had a track record of getting results. When you get to Mark chapter 5, this time the wind, the elements, the weather was acting out of control. Jesus woke up out on the boat and he spoke to the winds and the waves, and he said, peace, be still. And even the wind and the wave had to obey. And so by the time we get to Mark chapter 5, it opens up with the lunatic that was in the graveyard, that was running around naked and cutting himself. They tried to put chains on him, but he would break out the chains. But when Jesus got off the boat, he looked at the man in the eyes and told the devil to shut up and come out of the man. And so by the time Jesus came back on the other side of the sea, his reputation reputation had preceded him, that he was a person that were able to get results. And I want to know on tonight, is there anybody in here tonight that Jesus had a track record in your life? Has Jesus done anything for you? Have you been sick and he healed your body? Have you been going through and he stepped in just in time? In other words, do you have a history with God? I don't know about you, but I got a history with God. If you got a history with God, clap your hands and give God praise. And the Bible said that Jairus and this woman, evidently they heard of Jesus' reputation. And while Jesus was on his way to Jairus' house, here it is, the woman with the issue of blood, she interrupted Jairus' miracle to get her miracle. The Bible says she had been bleeding 12 long years, but she began to speak over her own life. If I can but touch the hem of his garment, if I can just get to Jesus and touch something that's connected to him, I believe I'll be made whole. She didn't have to send no money in to TBN or Lord have mercy or the Word Network. She didn't have to buy no Miracle Spring water. She didn't have to get in no $1,000 prayer line, but she simply spoke over her own life and said, if I can just touch something that's connected to Jesus, because I've heard of his reputation, I know I will be made whole. And just like the woman spoke, it happened for her. The Bible said she got in the press and she reached in and touched his clothes. And when she touched him, and Jesus stopped dead in his tracks and said, who touched me? And the disciples said, Jesus, what do you mean? All of these people around you, what do you mean who touched you? And the Bible said, no, so you don't understand. I just felt the power for healing. The virtue just went out of me. And the Bible said that the woman was afraid. She began to speak up and testify that it was me. It was me. I was bleeding 12 long years. If she was a culture girl, she probably would have said, first give it unto the God who's the head of my life. I want to give every honor to everybody that honor is due. But I tell you, Jesus, I've been sick for 12 long years. I've been bleeding and I gave my money away to the doctors and they couldn't do nothing for me. But I made up in my mind. Y'all know how we testify. I made up in my mind, if I can just touch you, I believe I'll be made whole. And Jesus, I tell you, I reached out and touched you as you passed by. And immediately my issue of blood dried up. And Jesus looked at her and told her, daughter, your faith hath made you whole. And here it is at the text. While Jesus was talking with the woman, some people showed up from Jairus' house. And they began to tell Jairus, they said, don't worry the teacher, don't worry the master anymore. Because what you've been believing him for, it has died on you. Your daughter is dead. Don't believe, don't worry Jesus anymore. But evidently Jesus overheard their conversation while he was talking to the woman. Evidently he overheard what they were saying, because Jesus turned his focus off the woman and began immediately to speak to Jairus. He told them, in other words, he told them, don't pay them any attention. Don't listen to what they're talking about. Keep your focus on me. Only believe. Don't be afraid. I'm able to still work a miracle if you only believe. In another passage of scripture, when we read the other week during the Christmas season, the angel told Mary, he said that with man things are impossible, but with God all things are possible. And so in other words, Jesus was telling Jairus, it may be impossible for a miracle to happen in the eyes of man, but if you just keep your focus on me, I'm able to do it. And when you look at the word I am possible, you got to look at it with a different set of lenses. You got to understand that impossible is spelled I am possible. I'm going to say it again. When you look at the word impossible, it's spelled I am possible. And y'all remember when we were in school, they told us if you take the word and you take the word am and take out the A and put an apostrophe, it's impossible. Lord have mercy. Y'all gonna catch it in a minute, but maybe I need to tell you this. When you go back and remember the story of Moses, when he was on the backside of the desert, there was a burning bush, and Moses walked by, it was burning. He came back and it was still burning, and all of a sudden a voice began to speak out of the bush, and it told Moses to take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground. And God began to tell him, I need for you to go down to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. To make a long story short, when Moses agreed, he asked the question, who do I say sent me? Who do I say I'm speaking for? And God's response back to Moses was, tell him that I am has sent you. And so the next time when somebody say, girl, why you believe in God for that? That's impossible. Tell them that's why I believe that, because the I am is in front of that impossible situation. I am possible. You may get a doctor's report that's not in your favor, but you ought to look the devil in the eye and say, I am possible. You may get a negative piece of mail in the mail, but you ought to spread the mail out on the table and say, I am possible. Put the I am in front of your situation and watch God turn that thing around. Y'all, I'm almost through. But Jesus in Jairus and his 3 disciples, they went on anyway to Jairus's house. And when they got to Jairus's house, they were in there acting like we act when somebody died. Lord have mercy. They were crying and falling out and just cutting up. Y'all know how we act. They were just cutting up, and Jesus walked through the door. And he said, why y'all making all this fuss? Why y'all carrying on like this? The girl just sleep. And the Bible said they stopped crying. And the Bible said they just bust out and started laughing and started hee-hawing and just cracking up and saying, Jesus, you don't know what you're talking about. But what they did not realize was, although she was laying there dead in their eyes, that the I am had showed up in the house. They were saying that it was too late. They were laughing because they thought that it was too late. They were laughing because statistics were not in their favor. They were laughing because what Jesus said was defying the odds. They were laughing because it had never happened in that family before. But what they didn't realize, that Jesus and Jairus was getting ready to have the last laugh, because Jesus, he is the God of the resurrection. The resurrection has showed up in the house. The great I am has showed up in the house. And the Bible said that Jesus put everybody out the house except Jairus and his wife and the 3 apostles that went with him. And the Bible said that he put some folk out of the house. I'm going to say it again. The Bible said that Jesus put some folk out of the house. I'm going to say it one more time. Y'all going to catch it. The Bible said that Jesus put some folk out that were talking negative. Jesus put some folk out that didn't believe what they were believing him for. Jesus put some folk out. And since Jesus put some folk out, I believe that gives us permission to put some folk out of our circle going into 2019. That's always talking negative. That's always telling you, child, I don't know why you believe in that. Child, that's impossible. Child, I don't know why you think that's going to happen. Who do you think you ought to believe that you can come out with the victory? You got to be like Jesus. Put them out of your circle and surround yourself with people that's believing God with you. And the Bible said that Jesus went in the room and he grabbed the little girl by the hand and he spoke these words. He said, Talitha Kumai, being interpreted, damn Until I say unto thee, arise. But can I interpret to that in 2018 vernacular? In other words, Jesus grabbed the girl by the hand and he said, look, girl, get up from there. And I came by here to grab somebody by the hand and say, get up from there. I know it seems like it's all over, but get up from there. I know some things have died on you, but get up from there because we serve a God of a resurrection in 2019. There's getting ready to be a resurrection in your home, in your family, in your body, in your finances, on your job. There's getting ready to be a resurrection. So I came by here to tell the people of Rosemont Church of God in Christ, rise, shine, and give God, give them the glory, because victory, thank you, choir, we got the victory. We always win in spite of naysayers. We always win in spite of what other people say. Keep your eyes on Jesus and obey him. Keep your eyes on Jesus and do what he says. Listen for his voice and then step out on faith and obey his word. I'm getting ready to get out of here, but can I give you a few examples from the scripture of people that heard the voice of God and they stepped out in obedience? Abraham, he was a pagan. Abraham, he was an idol worshiper, but the Lord called him out. He said, Abraham, I want you to follow me to a land that you know not of, and I'm gonna make you father of many. And the Bible said that Abraham heard the voice of God and he obeyed the voice of God. And the Bible said that it went on many years. Him and his wife did not have any children, but God didn't let him get out. God didn't let him go without. God gave him a son by the name of Isaac. And one day God told Abraham, I want you to offer up Isaac, meet me on Mount Moriah. But the Bible said, although this was the promised seed, although this was the child that everything's supposed to happen through, Abraham obeyed God anyway. And when they got to the top of the mountain, there was a ram in the bush. And I came to tell somebody, if you just get up from there in 2019 and obey God, you may not know how it's going to happen. You may not have all of the money, but get up from there. And while you're on your way, God will provide a ram in the bush. God will provide some sponsors for your project. God will provide some people that will sow seed. God told Noah, he said, Noah, I want you to build an ark because it's getting ready to do something it ain't never did before. You got to understand, prior to this, it had not rained on the earth. The Bible said in Genesis that a mist went up from the earth and it watered the ground. But by the time Noah comes on the scene, it had never rained. But Jesus, God told him, I want you to build an ark because it's getting ready to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah moved in faith in him and his family. They were saved because they dared to believe God, because they dared to step out on faith. And I come to encourage the people of God tonight. Whatever you do in 2019, listen for the voice of the Lord and move in obedience. Whatever you do, wherever you go, obey God. Leave all of that junk in 2018. Leave all of that fear in 2018. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm leaving it in 2018. Fear, I'm leaving it in 2018. Doubt, I'm leaving it in 2018. Negative thinking, I'm leaving it in 2018. Blaming other people for my current situation, I'm leaving it in 2018. Listening to people's opinion instead of God, I'm leaving it in 2018. Excuses, I'm leaving it in 2018. If you're gonna leave it in 2018, clap your hands and open your mouth and give God praise. Come on and give God praise. Come on and open your mouth and give God praise, because we serve a God that is able to resurrect those dreams that seem to have died on you. We serve a God that's able to resurrect those things, those ideas, those relationships that have seemed to die on you. If you just put the I am in front of your situation, if you just bring the God of the resurrection, allow him to be God, if you just listen to his voice, receive instruction from him, and whatever it is that God says to do, just do it. It's just like Jesus' mother told the people at the wedding when they ran out of wine. She said, Jesus, they need a miracle. They need for you to do something. And she looked at the people and told them, whatever he says, do it. And I come to tell the people of God on tonight that yes, 2019 is a year of great faith and great accomplishments, but it'll only happen through our obedience in doing what God says do. We got to move from just singing about it and just shouting and dancing about it. When we get through doing all of the church antics, we got to go out in a real world and apply the things and walk out the things that we're believing God for. Everybody standing, I'm through. I could go on, but I'm through. I want to pray for somebody that's in the house that says, Sean, yeah, 2018 was a rough year for me. 2018, it seemed like a lot of stuff died on me. In 2018, it seemed like it's all washed up. If that's you, don't look around. We ain't got time for all of that. Don't look around. Hit this altar. We want to come in agreement with you that God will give you faith to believe. Just like the woman with the issue of blood, just like Jairus. If I can just get in touch with Jesus, this circumstances, my situation will be turned all the way around. Oh, come on. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever the circumstance is. You don't have to go in 2019 doubting that God is going to do it. You don't have to go into 2019 doubting that it can happen for you. Yes, it can happen for you. Yes, it will happen for you. I don't claim to be a prophet or a prophetess, but I do know when I hear God, and God is saying, if you just trust me in this season, just trust me down through here. Forget about the past, forgetting those things which are behind us, and we're pressing forward toward the mark. Is there another on tonight? The devil been lying and saying it's going to always be like this. But I come to let you know, like the songwriters say, it won't always be like this. That the Lord is perfecting that concerning you and me. And sooner than later, it's turning in our favor. He's turning it around for us. Can you just lift your hands all over the house and begin to worship the Lord? Oh, come on, open your mouth and begin to worship the Lord. Especially you on the altar, open your mouth and begin to worship the Lord. You're in your turnaround season. You're in your resurrection season. 2019 will be a year of resurrection as we move in obedience. Hear the voice of the Lord and move in faith. And watch God resurrect some things in your life. God, we thank you tonight for your word that has gone forth to admonish us to have faith in you. Because with you, all things are possible if we only believe. And God, we're being honest tonight. Some of us, we believe, but we're like the man in the Bible. We believe, but Lord, help our unbelief. God, cast out doubt, cast out fear. Cast out confusion in the mind. And God, help us to get our mind and focus on you. God, help us to get our mind and focus on your word. God, help us to hold on and hold out until our change comes. Because we believe that sooner or later, it's going to work out for us. Can you help me pray? Sooner or later, it's going to work out for us. Sooner or later, we're going to experience a turnaround. Sooner or later, God, we're going to experience a resurrection. Sooner or later, God, we trust you. We believe you that the things that we're leaving in 2018 will never resurrect again. God, we thank you that the negative things that we're leaving in 2018, they'll never resurrect again. And God, we believe in you. Those things that died on us, those dreams, those visions that you've given us that have seemed to die on us. God, we thank you for your resurrection power in our family. We thank you for your resurrection power in our finances. We thank you for your resurrection power in our life. In the mighty name of Jesus. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. We thank you tonight. Come on, open your mouth and begin to thank him. We thank you tonight. We thank you tonight that you refuse to let us go into the next year with the same old stuff. We thank you tonight because you've given us the victory. We thank you tonight because everything the devil tried, it did not work. We got the victory over the devil. We got the victory over depression. We got the victory over defeat. We got the victory, and it is so. Come on, clap your hands and begin to thank God. Come on, open your mouth and thank God. If you believe you got the victory, open your mouth and begin to thank God. Open your mouth and begin to thank God. Y'all, we almost getting ready to cross over. Open your mouth and begin to give God praise. Because everything that the devil tried in 2018, it didn't work. What he thought was going to be your demise, it did not work. What he thought was going to kill you, it did not work. Everybody get up on your feet. And for the next 60 seconds, open up your mouth and give God praise. Come on and give God praise. Come on and give God praise. Come on and give God praise. We in the countdown now. Come on and give God praise. Come on and give God praise. Come on. Come on. You still got your right mind. Come on. You're walking on two good legs. Come on. Hallelujah. Come on and give God praise.
Come on, praise him. 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 Hallelujah. Come on, praise him. Come on, praise him. Somebody shout hallelujah. Somebody shout hallelujah. Somebody shout hallelujah. 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 Hug that person next to you and say Happy New Year. Hug that person next to you and say Happy New Year. Hug that person next to you and shout Happy New Year. I said hug that person and shout Happy New Year. Now lift up that hand and shout I made it. Come on, lift up that hand and shout I made it. Come on, lift up that hand and shout I made it. If you're happy that you made it, lift your hands and just shout glory. Come on, keep on shouting glory. Come on, keep on